Good evening and welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. Yes, y'all, I love that word. It's so Kentucky. Y'all, this is the final episode before Election Day, which is November the 8th. We're going to work hard to bring you the information and the inspiration we all need to put in the final big push between now and next Tuesday. That's right. Tonight is GOTV-TV. Okay, we got to defend reproductive rights. Yes, we do. Send Rand Paul packing. Lord, we hope. And get Andy a better legislature to work with. Who's with us? I know you are. You're watching tonight. You're with us. We need all y'all to be with us. And thankfully, we've got an amazing team tonight to make that happen. And we will check in with them next. I am Kimberly Cecil, and I am filling in tonight for the great host of Kernels of Truth, Aaron. And he will be back with us next week. But first, are you ready to turn Kentucky purple? I know you are. I know you are. I know you are. It's just 6 days from now. Voters across Kentucky will go to the polls to decide about two horrible, yes, they are horrible, constitutional amendments. And we will decide who will represent us as our junior senator in Washington, D.C. Every state seat is up for election, every House seat and we've got 10 contested, very contested state Senate races and an enormous number of local offices to elect. So these are our big decisions we need to make, and our state needs your voice and your vote. If you want a commonwealth that works for all of us, join us. Yes, we'll take you by the hand, okay? By the hand. And join us with Progress Kentucky, great organization, and support our campaign to turn our Commonwealth purple. Follow us on social media and share out our content with your friends and family. Spread the word that we're tired of the GOP-dominated status quo in Kentucky, and we think our Commonwealth is truly fighting for. You know what? I think it's just even more than think. We know, yes, yes, clap, 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 that our Commonwealth is worth fighting for. So now it's time to check in on our co-host. Let us all know who and where you are, and what does your protest sign say today? Oh, yeah. And you there that's looking at us tonight on the internet, we mean you too, okay? I want you to read what your sign says. Put it in the chat while we're sharing ours. Mine says, right now, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, Jefferson County, the largest county in Kentucky. And we are also in a bit of a cauldron here of maybe a Republican takeover. But I'm going to put that law of attraction into work and say that it will continue to be democratically ran by the Democrats. So my protest sign says today, let's get out there and vote these horrible, trifling, nasty people out of office. Did y'all like that? Okay. So, Doug, what does yours say? Mr. Doug Price and Cynthiana, right?
Doug Price and Cynthiana. I certainly can't top that. I don't know whether you all are going to be able to see this or not, but I always print something out on my sign. I started to take a picture of all of the signs I had in the yard, the Booker, the vote no on amendments, vote Megan Brandon, that kind of thing. But I decided I'm going to say on November 8th, vote no on both amendments. And I'll turn it over to Willie.
Hey, y'all, I'm Willie Edward Taylor Carver Jr. I'm in downtown Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Kimberly, I'm wondering if you're just got a really big sign or really small font, because I don't think I could fit all that on a sign. Aaron's not here to tell me not to say it, so my sign is you better work, bitch, because we got to work. We have got to work. I am so tired. I still look fresh and flawless, but I am exhausted doing everything that I can possibly do. But Kentucky's worth it. The kids are worth it. So let's just keep fighting.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep fighting.
And
Each and
win.
every day. Yes, we are. We are very, very, very worn out. But you know what? Good things come to those that work extremely hard to make it happen.
Hmm.
And I love that. You better go, Mr. Willie Carver. Okay. So the first story that we have up is from our very, very own Doug Price, that he normally does. Doug Price, Price is Right. Is that right, Doug? Doug Price is Right. Yeah, I got it. I don't need your help, Doug. And I affectionately call him Dougie Fresh because he's always bringing us the fresh news of the week. So take it away, Doug.
Sure. Once again, I want to say the Doug Price is Right is something that the team gave me. And I think they did that because I always research, uh, I find facts to back up the stories that I do. Tonight, though, I'm going to do something I'm going to call quick hits. And the opinions expressed in this segment are those that are in my mind. That may be a good thing or a bad thing. It's how many progressive candidates we've had on our Kernels of Truth shows over the last several weeks. 23. On the negative side, we had 3 or 4 that we tried to get on the show, but failed in our efforts. I'm not going to name those because that would do no good, but still disappointing. There were a few who did not come on the show. Hey, we were trying to help your campaign. The next item I want to talk about is something that I have discussed in the past. A couple of weeks ago, we reported about Joe Fisher's effort to circumvent rules that are in place related to judicial races being impartial. Joe is running for the Kentucky Supreme Court. You may remember old Joe had campaign signs that referred to him as a conservative Republican, or he outright stated that he was against abortion, wink, wink, vote for me. Those words are currently the true voice of the handmaidenish Republican Party. My opinion is that the Republican Party of Kentucky seeks to control all 3 branches of government, and trust me, this is not good. We need to remember this when we go to the polls next Tuesday. Last week, the 6th Circuit Federal Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 in favor of Fisher. Apparently, Fisher's right of free speech enters into the discussion. The 2 who ruled in favor were appointed by Trump. You can make your own conclusions about that. Amendment number 2. The abortion amendment is the one that will basically stop all abortions in Kentucky, and it's certainly getting a lot of attention. Recently, I watched a KT episode that had point counterpoint for both sides, featuring Tamara Weeder, who has been on our show a few times, and former long-term Republican State Representative Adia Wuchner. She was in the House of Representatives for 14 years. Tamara spoke from a point of strength, and Adia seemed to be on the defensive. She complained about the amount of outside money coming into this effort. Certainly was a strange sight for a Republican to talk about outside money. I don't have figures, but I expect that the outside influence of money into all campaigns for anything are more funded for conservative issues than liberal issues. There is no doubt that our very own Senator Mitch McConnell can claim to be one of the politicians who supported Citizens United by stacking the courts with conservative judges and justices. What is the old saying? Be careful what you wish for, lest it come true. We often wish that we were in a different place, relationship, or circumstance. Hardly do we think about the consequences of having the things we desire. Second thing I want to mention is vote no on Amendment 2. Amendment 1. That's the other one. It's the one that I've highlighted. This one will allow the Republican-controlled legislature to call itself into session, as opposed to the governor being the only one to call a special session. Several legislators have written emails in support of this amendment. In 2020, the average annual pay for their part-time job, part-time people, was around $65,000 a year, and they voted themselves a raise this past session. If Amendment 1 passes, then they will increase their pay, and all coming from the party that states they want less government. Also, the party that is very good at talking out of both sides of their mouths, aka Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, Jamie Comer. The list is endless. The voters should vote no on this one too. Those are my stories that I wanted to cover, and I'll turn it back to our fearless leader tonight, Miss Kimberly.
I thought I was going to hear Aaron telling me, you're muted, Kimberly, you're muted. Thank you so much, Dougie Fresh. I really enjoyed that. Just for a minute, I got some news here that I wanted to bring up to you guys, and just to see what you think about it really quickly here. Congressman Massey is now campaigning with Joe Fisher, okay? And then also, here goes the humdinger that I really want to talk to you about. Ooh. And that is the Fraternal Order of Police, the FOP, endorses Representative Nemes in a contentious re-election fight, according to Kentucky Fried Politics. And it says here that Democrats are on the attack in the 33rd District, House District race, where the state Fraternal Order of Police, the state FOP, I can't believe this, has just endorsed incumbent Republican Representative Jason Nemes. Democrats are bullish in the fight for this suburban district that stretches from the Middletown area of Louisville into parts of Oldham and Shelby counties. Nemes, he faces a very good individual. I know her personally. She's highly involved with the Democratic Party, also here in Louisville. And her name is Kate Turner. She's fresh. She's new. She wants to make a difference. And I'm not doing this to actually endorse her, but I will. I like her. And I have a good sense of character of people. And I get a good sense of honesty and a willingness to do what's right. What do you guys think about the state Fraternal Order of Police endorsing Nemes?
My first thought was to just see what exactly he had to say about January the 6th, which doesn't appear to be enough for me to find anything online. I don't understand how police officers would endorse anyone associated with a party that blatantly ignored the deaths of so many officers and seemed to look the other way when officers were killed for that party's initiatives. My first thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll jump in and say something. You know, they say politics, what is it? Something about politics makes for strange bedfellows or something like that.
Are they all sleeping with each other? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that.
I've got some strange political bedfellows in my
They
time.
are.
I'm married now.
I don't put nothing past any of them. I'm just being honest with you. Mm-hmm. They're scary for real. They're like, their night was Halloween. They didn't even need to put on a mask. Like we could have went to a party. And we don't, we should do that next year for any Republicans that are still doing the bull crap that they like to do and acting like they didn't graduate from high school. I mean, like, what's going on? Dougie Fresh, you can be Nemes, and Willie, you can be who you want to be.
Well, there's too many good options. Plus, I'm too good looking to be any of them.
I'll be Mitch McConnell. I'll just dress as a Grim Reaper, So, yeah, it's very, very disheartening because all of us are human beings, right? If any of them cut red, what color is their blood going to be?
I've had Facebook conversations with Jason Nemes, And
Oh, really? Ooh, do tell.
yeah, I have a couple of observations I'll pass on to you. The Oldham County Republican Women's Club held a fundraiser. I don't know, it's been 2 or 3 months ago, and they raised $8,000, and then they decided that it made sense to donate 5,000 of that to Joe Fisher, the guy that I mentioned earlier. I think Joe attended the fundraiser and gave them $50, so he got a pretty good return on his investments.
On the $50?
Yeah, he gave $50 and ended up with a $5,000 contribution. So, there's no question that Jason Nemus supports Joe Fisher because he had to have had some hand in those funds going from them. Another thing about Nemus, he is an attorney, and I don't really know what his thoughts are on voting rights and that kind of thing. But I do know that as an attorney, he defended an individual who had been accused of voting irregularities. So you had to ask who won or who lost.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not surprised. I'm just, it's messing me up to a certain degree because I used to think there was a time where people could walk across the aisle and make some things happen. And I really respect my friend and my comrade in having a good laugh and time, and that's Morgan McGarvey. He has been able to do that and pull. I don't know if they have a heart to pull, but he's been able to get some things done that is universal to them. They got to do one or two nice things, in a year to make it seem like they're doing something. Like, I mean, like in a minute, all of us need to run for state rep or something. It's getting, I don't understand it anymore. Maybe I can say that. But maybe we have someone that can go into office and know what the ham sandwich they're doing. And that would be Mr. Josh Buckman. And he is a write-in candidate, and he's running for Senate District 28. Mr. Buckman, hopefully we can say State Senator Buckman in due time, is a social worker running against I don't even want to say the name, Ralph Alvarado. And actually, Mr. Buckman's area would probably compass maybe Fayette, well, some of Fayette, Clark, Montgomery County, Menifee, and Bath counties. So I hope that Mr. Buckman can enlighten us a little bit on what he plans to do and how can we come back to just being human beings in this world to make it a better place for our kids and grandkids. I think it's over for us, but there is an opportunity for our children and our grandchildren and on and so forth. Good evening.
Hey, thank you for having me. Okay.
Give us the what's up. What are you going to do to get a, I'm going to put this out here to you first. I truly believe in what Martin Luther King said. He said it only takes one person, one Josh Buckman, to make a difference with hundreds of people. They would then go on and affect thousands of people, and then they will go ahead and affect millions of people. And it'll start with just one person, a Mr. Josh Buckman, that we hope when you come back on the show that you are State Senator Buckman.
Well, thank you. And yes, I think the first thing you have to do is run, put your name out there. Nobody did file to run against Senator Alvarado. And I've been completely impressed by the amount of support I've gotten from this. I have people in all 5 counties that are willing to who have offered to volunteer, spread the message, get out, uh, and help. I've also found that in many ways, people can say that Fayette County and Lower Lexington is so different than Menifee County. I can tell you they have many of the same concerns that they have, whether that be funding for education. I mean, people are scared about the teacher shortage. That's actually one of my first priorities that I want to eliminate. People say that, and I grew up in a small town myself, where there's a lot of pressure to fight for women's reproductive freedom. Like, it's in some ways it's very taboo. Yet, one of the first 3 people I talked to when I went to Menifee County for the first time to campaign, they were all concerned about losing the right to reproductive freedom. One of the people I even spoke to told me about a friend they had who lives in the District 28, who is concerned about who was actually pregnant. It turned out there was an ectopic pregnancy, and because of the current abortion ban, she was not able to get the proper care she needed, because while I know the Republicans, they love to say that there's an exception for the health of the mother. The truth is, many doctors are afraid to treat non-viable pregnancies because they're afraid they could get prosecuted. And I will say this: that's not the only time I've even heard that story. I've heard it on multiple occasions from people in the district who have friends or family members who have not gotten the proper care they sought out after a non-viable pregnancy. But again, I have other concerns. Again, economic concerns. They're not as different as you might think.
True. So tell us a little bit about you. You're into social work, and that can be very taxing on an individual, but you probably understand individuals at a deeper level.
Well, I'm a social worker, and I want to incorporate a lot of what I do as a social worker into being a state senator. Like, my job is not necessarily to I'm a medical social worker, so I consider them more patients than I do clients, like most social workers do. But my patients, I don't tell them what they need or what their problem is. And that should be the same way a state senator is. They shouldn't necessarily tell you, oh, this is your problem and this is how I'm going to fix it. You have to work and listen and work to address the needs and concerns of your constituents, the way I do the needs and concerns of my patients. Now, my patients, they need help getting prescription drugs. They may need help getting a wheelchair ramp installed at their house. They may need help just doing something like getting clothes for their children. That's what I do. And I often think that the people in Frankfort, too many of our legislators are telling us what we need and not really listening to what we need. And I can tell you the biggest joy I get is when I ask it when I'm talking to a constituent of the 28th district, and they tell me about a problem that I never knew about and that nobody really knows, or nobody in Frankfort is addressing, maybe not even in their local government is addressing. That's exciting because you get to know what's really going on.
So I know that my great co-host here, Dougie Fresh, that's what I call him, Dougie Fresh, and Mr. Willie Carver probably have some questions for you. Dougie.
First of all, it is so refreshing to hear you talk about wanting to listen. I will say that I'm thankful when I won 2022 Teacher of the Year, that Senator Alvarado invited me and they honored me on the Senate floor, and that was all very, very nice. But I can say a couple of things about that meeting. And one is it was clear to me he had not read the education bill. That was so important to every single teacher in the state that we are fighting for. We were spending so much of our energy trying to educate people on. And he was not able functionally to talk about the things that were in that bill with me. And two, I think I spoke 4 words. I was chosen from 50,000 teachers to represent teachers, and I really wasn't able to speak. And so thank you for wanting to listen. I think my question would be, and something that you've made me think about, is just how this is kind of what the right, I think, does. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation. There's a lot of generating at the top that sort of gets pushed down, as opposed to hearing what people have to say. So I think listening to people is probably the first step in breaking that disinformation. How do we do that? How do you think we can manage as a state, as a country, as a society, to break this impulse to disinformation and really start hearing about the actual needs of people on the ground, which are nothing like what the RNC is pushing?
I think one thing is maybe spend a little less time on social media and getting out and talking to people. Join us. I would love to see more clubs. If there's like a club in your community, go there, talk to people, talk to your neighbors, talk to, and not just your friends. Kind of get out of your comfort zone. You find out, and I keep saying, the biggest surprise that I find out is that people aren't as different as you might think. They have a lot of our needs and concerns and our worries are not that dissimilar. I would probably encourage you, if you have a good, reputable local media source, consider subscribing to it and pay a little extra. We have Elon Musk who says we're supposed to pay $8 for a check mark.
Thank you. I like what I was thinking about. I had a really good relationship with my neighbors who are conservative evangelical Christians with like 8 kids. So you wouldn't think, oh, the gay couple next door, until this year. And I can say what's interesting is we had everything in common, and every piece of division was created by the Republican Party, was created specifically to make them not trust me. So I do think you're right. I wonder how the government can help facilitate, encourage that sort of work, outside of Andy Beshear, who just does it naturally because he's so freaking cute in his little button-up shirts and kindness.
Well, I'm going to jump in here. I'm wearing my button-up shirt. I don't know whether you can see me or not, but
I can see it.
We see you, Doug.
Great.
We see you.
It's interesting, Josh. I thought, well, he's asked a question that I want him to think about, but then I thought about it and I thought, well, I'm going to go to his Facebook page, and something you asked stood out. I want to read some of the comments and pretty much follow what you already said. What are the top 3 qualities you look for in a representative? What do you value most as a community member? Here are some of the comments: listening, integrity, respect for people regardless of background. This person said, I don't recall our current senator ever asking that question. He believes in legislative intrusion into a woman's reproductive needs. Thanks, Josh, for offering voters a great option at the polls. Another person, I have your handouts from today. When I cleaned up the area, it looked like everyone's gone. And when I got done canvassing, hit around 56 more people. Somebody else said honesty, integrity, empathy. Comfortable admitting they don't know everything and willing to listen and learn. Recognize and accept they cannot be things to all people all the time, but they should be there for the most vulnerable populations. So I don't really have a question. I just want to make a comment. I have been at a meeting with Senator Alvarado, and he portrayed empathy, but I know how he votes, and he's not a very empathetic person. And I agree, we need more people in our legislature who actually listen and have empathy, show empathy, and act upon that empathy. And it sounds like you're going to be that kind of person.
Yeah, well, yeah, I absolutely believe that, you can go and run for office and have all these grand plans and think you know what you're going to implement. But at the end of the day, you are there to serve the needs of your constituents. They come first, and maybe there might be that that thing that you weren't considering, or maybe you weren't looking at both sides when you initially had an opinion. If you've got to be willing to listen and learn and work to and vote. Typically worked for the betterment of your constituents. Another thing I would say that's also important, that's kind of similar, that's important, that's similar to my job, is that I've often found that state legislators are supposed to help their constituents when they, on other things, they kind of have to do some case management. My mother was trying to get unemployment during the beginning of the pandemic, and it was actually her state rep that helped her get that unemployment when the unemployment system was backlogged.
You're muted. Oh, she's saying something
I
great.
thought I heard Aaron somewhere. I don't know. Listen, when you're talking about helping out people, and I know this is not really about your campaign, but it's like something, if you didn't know about this, it's like a nice little thing that just came out day before yesterday, that Julia Roberts, the actress, was doing a interview, and she made it known that her family was very close with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Paid their rent and different things. Did you all know that?
I heard about it this morning. I'd never heard of it before.
I am so smart. I know something that Dougie Fresh and you don't know, and Mr. Buckman doesn't know. I'm so ecstatic about that. But that's a nice little story to tell some of your constituencies as you're talking to them about how you can maybe get help in unexpected places. And sometimes the person with the big name is not always the person that's going to listen to you. And I said all of that to just bring it back around to you, Josh Buckman, that you have the ability for a time such as this to actually be that one person, as we talked about earlier, to affect change for this whole state and not just your district. So we truly, truly wish you the best on Tuesday. And where's the party? I'm gonna dip and dip and dip and dip to the parties. Where's the party?
For the party, it's still a work in progress.
You all don't have the victory party together yet? Okay. Yeah. Okay. But you will keep us informed, right?
I will keep you all informed.
Okay.
But yes, it's still a work in progress, but we will, there'll be something that goes on. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm also, end up here in Louisville at the Galt House, where I think for the Charles Booker, and we hope that's victory, right? And Morgan McGarvey, and we feel like that probably will be a victory, right? And for the mayor of this city, Craig Greenberg, and Tina Ward Pugh for county clerk, and kicking Bobby Holescloth, who's had that position for the last, I don't know, I think she had it before I was born, because I'm only 22. But anyway, It's going to be party town here in Louisville, but I'm going to pop over someplace. So make sure you keep us informed about that. Now, how can our viewers and listeners help you? I know it's just a few days away, but what can we do?
Honestly, just keep spreading the word. I know I bashed social media earlier, but please go out and share everything on my posts on Facebook. I would also encourage people to, if you do not know how to do the write-in process, you just tick the write-in box when you get to Senate District 28, and then you can write in J and then Buck like the deer, and then man like Superman. But just educate people and let people know in the eastern portion of Fayette County, in Clark County, in Montgomery County, in Bath County, and Menifee County, that you do have a choice. The people of Bath and Menifee County, they were just going to have a completely different state senator with no choice until I decided to run as a write-in. Let them know that there is an option. There is somebody who is willing to listen and work to address the needs and concerns. I've been to Bath and Menifee County. I don't think anybody even knew about. I talked to so many voters. None of them even knew that there was actually a choice, or that they had even been moved into a different district. Same in Clark
What about
County.
money? You might need some last minute funds. I know a lot of campaigns right now are doing some. There was a fundraiser for Tina Ward Pugh here in Louisville at Senator Gerald Neal's house. And a lot of people were like, why are they? Because you still need to buy some television, some radio, some Facebook ads, some stuff on Twitter and Instagram, and every dollar, even the day of, if they can run to the radio station and buy a few slots, or, do some more advertising on Facebook. Yeah. So if they want to send you some cash, where do they send it, Josh?
You go to Act Blue. Go to Act Blue and search for Senate District 28, and you can send it right there.
Okay, sounds good to me. Anything else that you guys have for Mr. Josh Buckman tonight?
I just want to say to any teacher who's hearing, Josh Buckman is speaking our love language, and as a teacher in Montgomery County, hope y'all are listening, because the worst parts of teaching are when the state government or federal government says, do this, do this, do this. And teachers have been saying all year, this isn't going to work. This particular group of students needs something else. And what did we just find out with the test scores across the country? The things they were telling us didn't work. So yes to anyone in Frankfort listening to us as opposed to dictating to us. So thank you.
And we thank you, Mr. Josh Buckman, for being our guest tonight. And we hope and we pray that on Tuesday night that we will hear that your name has been selected as the new state senator of Senate District 28. Thank you so much, and we hope to have you back on to talk about how wonderful it is being a state senator. Sounds good?
Sounds great. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was our campaign corner. But Mr. Willie Carver will be doing for us tonight the call to action. Yes, it requires maybe getting your patuta out of your seat, or maybe going somewhere, perhaps. We all need a little field trip, and doing some last minute things for our GOTV initiative.
So pick a candidate. Is your state lawmaker in a tight re-election campaign, because a lot of them are? Or do you want to get rid of your current state rep or senator? God knows I do. Pick a campaign and do what you can do to make sure folks know how, when, and have a plan to make sure that their support materializes on their ballot. I live in Montgomery County, Kentucky, where literally oftentimes we don't even see progressives running. However, I hear from the Montgomery County Democratic group that there are more registered Democrats. The issue is that we think we're not going to win. All you need to do is show up and you can make us win. We are in the closing week, and every hour, every minute, every 10-minute slot that you have that you can commit matters. Friday in Lexington, Governor Beshear will be at GOTV rally at 10 a.m. at Pivot Brewing. It's a location that's close to the Senior Center, which is the early voting location for Fayette County. Join the rally and then march to early vote and bank that baby. And finally, you all can jump on the No On 2 campaign. Canvas, call, do digital organizing. Everything that we can do to say no, 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 no is incredibly valuable right now in the state of Kentucky. So, team, what are y'all doing?
Oh, you want to know what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm getting geared. I'm talking to everybody. I've been, I just had surgery recently, total knee replacement. But you know what? I've been putting out yard signs, but I've been like not putting them in yards. I've been putting them just anywhere that they will not be taken up. And I've been putting out all kinds of yard signs for Queenie Everett, who's the incumbent for county judge executive, and for Morgan McGarvey. And I did for a lot of others, but those were the ones that I got a replenishment of and got those done. Still talking to people, vote, 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 talking to my staff at work. Are you making arrangements to do it early? Are you making arrangements to do it at all? Because like I might need to do something with this schedule for you. Let's make sure to vote. And thirdly, that would be 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thirdly, I am trying to get my outfit together and everything, and I might have to cut the rug a little bit. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm just dreaming. But, it's going to be food and drinks, and all different campaigns are going to have sweets at the Galt House. It's going to be going down at the Galt House in Louisville with the governor and Charles Booker and Morgan McGarvey. I mean, it's going down. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing.
How do the rest of us get to go to the Galt House for this event?
You got to know somebody that knows somebody that's going. If you want to go, let me know. Hit us up in the comments. If you want to go and have fun and just be there, you've seen it on TV. Everybody's like trying to dance with no rhythm, even us Black folks. But you can attend, possibly. Let me know if you want to go to the victory party. It's going to be a victory party. I know it. It's going to be a victory party. So what about you, Dougie Fresh? What's going on in Cynthiana? What's the last minute? This is almost like getting the last minute gifts for Christmas. We're rushing, and it's so important, extremely important, because
Yes,
if we don't make the right decisions right now, I don't know. Portugal is sounding pretty good.
Yeah, it's certainly right around the corner. It's hard to believe that November 8th is finally here. It seems so far away, so short a time ago. As we were talking about this, I was thinking about probably the first victory party I went to, and some of you youngins, probably anybody else on this will not remember, but back when the governor and lieutenant governor ran separately, I was campaigning for Martha Lane Collins for lieutenant governor. And
I remember
we had a victory. Okay. You remember her just because of things that she's done. You're not old enough to remember her.
Yes, I do. My mama knew her.
Okay. So anyway, the things weren't looking good, and I had gone home, and then somebody called me and said the tide had turned. You need to come back. So I did go back, and she did eventually win. As you know, became one of our best governors ever for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And then on the other end, several years ago, I was at the Allison Lundergan Grimes victory party when Mitch McConnell won, and that was, not much fun. But on Tuesday, I may go to the courthouse for a little while to watch the election totals come in, and then some of us may gather at the Maiden City Brewery to hopefully toast to having some progressives
Oh, that sounds
win these elections.
so exciting, Doug. You need to come to Louisville.
I love that idea of a toast to progressive.
You need to come where the fun really is. Come on down. Get a room at the Goat House. Hey, I'm getting a ride up there and I'm taking a lift back home because, the Woodford Reserve, they going to have fountains of Woodford Reserve. Honey.
Oh.
It's going to be flowing like water up in there. I'm just telling you how it is.
Kimberly, Obama's first election, there were drinks that were had. Just enough so that walking back to my apartment in Georgia, we passed a mural and I said, "We live in a society where art comes from a can."
So we know what kind of drinks was going on at the Obama victory party. I'm not
And it
mad
still
at
wasn't
you.
enough to celebrate that victory because that was a great victory.
I told you I'm taking a lift home. So what kind of things are you going to do, Willie?
To celebrate?
No.
I am.
Remember, I did
to
say
get
I'm
it-
going
to
to still
get
do a
us
little
there.
bit of work. I did say that now.
I have my focus right now is calling those people two groups. One, the group of people who I know would make the right choice if they went out to vote and thought that it mattered enough. So I'm really trying to fire those people up, to fire them up on social media, to fire them up in real life as much as I possibly can, because the fire, the belief that we can do something is, I think, what's really missing. And I think the second group is overcoming those lies that are recent, that are new. People who were on our side until very recently, until they started hearing about litter boxes and bathrooms or God knows what else. Those are my two.
Whoa. I think I missed something of monumental importance, but we'll get back on that later.
We will.
We got to wrap it up.
Absolutely.
I don't want Aaron to be upset with me,
So those are the two. Those are the big two.
And those are most definitely very instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, going into 2023, it just takes one. Just one person. One person in Cynthiana, one person in Louisville. And where are you, Willie, again?
Montgomery County, Mount Sterling.
Mount Sterling, one person. But in Mount Sterling, you all kind of like branch out. You got like a big area. So you got several counties like right around there. So just one person, right?
Yeah.
That's three of us right now. So, hey, we can do it. We can get these people out of office. We have to. I'm scared as a minority. It's disheartening. And I don't want to feel what I felt when Trump became president, and allegedly, and that my heart went down to my toenails and I was anxiety ridden and glued to the news like it was the playoffs. And, and I don't want that experience anymore. You know what I'm saying, Doug?
Yeah.
I don't want that experience anymore.
I understand that.
Yeah, we don't want that experience anymore. We just can't, They did the Supreme Court, as far as affirmative action is concerned, if that is taken away, we got some weak legislators right now. When you have a Supreme Court justice that's all up in the mix of the biggest coup in American history, affirmative action could go down the drain. A lot of people just think it's about some Black and brown folks trying to get into college, but it's also women, whether they're white women, short women, tall women, old women, young women. It doesn't matter. It's women, people with disabilities. It's also our LGBTQ IA plus sisters and brothers. and on and so forth. So your vote does count. And maybe if you're looking at this, you are going to vote. But I challenge you to talk to 5 more people because it's so imperatively important. And I know we say every year it's important. This is the year, but you know what? Every year it gets worse. So every year you need to vote. So we will be back next week, probably. If Kim doesn't have a meltdown and Doug is like holed up in his room in a depressive state, and Willie is just like, I can't believe it, and we have to go over there and try to knock on the door. So we will be back next week, probably. But I do need to give the disclaimer first. Progress Kentucky is a nonprofit organization registered with the Kentucky Secretary of State, organized as a 501c4, is affiliated with the Indivisible Project and the Commonwealth Alliance Voter Engagement, which is affectionately known as CAVE. You guys probably know that by now. But Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. Just a great guest tonight, Mr. Josh Buckman. We're going to send all the positive energy and light to him for his campaign. It's a little bit harder, ladies and gentlemen, and others, that when you got to write somebody in. So he's going to need a lot of positive energy going his way, and I know we've got enough to do that. Tonight production was by our very own wonderful, more than lovely and talented Annabelle Nagel, and she says she's coming to the Gout House for the victory party. Okay. And thank you, Nate Orshan, who I love to call him Nate Dogg, for the theme song that you hear. And you can find more information and music at natosongs.com. That's N-A-T-O songs.com. If you miss our weekly live stream, don't worry. Don't fret, my pets. You can rewatch shows and see our source links on Facebook underneath Progress Kentucky. Now, if you're at work, you're in your car, and you're just out there working out, whatever the case may be, you can always listen to us on the audio podcast, and they are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and just about anywhere that you get your podcast. Now, some of the logo and graphic content was provided by Couchfire Media. More information can be found about them on couchfiremedia.com. Now go check them out. Now, I'm just going to say the same thing that I say every week. It's been so wonderful to be back with family this week, with Annabelle and Doug Price and Mr. Willie Carver, Kentucky Teacher of the Year 2022. I think it's been wonderful tonight, and we surely do miss Aaron, but he will be back next week. So you know what I'm going to say? It's Wednesday. You've accomplished it. It's hump day. You humped over the day. Okay. So for the rest of this week, hey, do something nice for somebody. Pay it forward, a smile, a phone call, a text to someone that you've had on your mind, but life gets in the way. You know what? While you're being nice to people, I think it's very nice and a human component of who we are to tell people to vote. Go into your phone. If they don't know where to vote, tell them where to vote, as long as they're registered. But, make sure that they get out there and vote. Let them know that there's early voting in selected locations. We can do this. We can come out the winners and come out ahead. So until next week, send your positive energy, send your prayers, send your donations, send your phone calls, your texts, everything that you possibly can do to make this Democrat country. Hasn't been it since 1996. We can do it again. And until then, we'll see you next week.